Today, we're talking about gaming and artificial intelligence. So, Michelle, let's start from the beginning. Let's, spend some words about, the history of AI in gaming, because, this is not a recent trend. This is something that started a long time ago.
Yes, indeed. So, very briefly, so the first computerized game that was ever made is called NIM. It was around 1952. So, it's basically a mathematical game of strategy. So, two players take turns removing objects from distinct heaps. So, you can imagine a box of pebbles, right? So, you and I take turns taking how many we want. And the idea is that you either win, there's two ways to play it. You either win if you are the last person to take the last pebble, or the other way around. So if you
Hmm.
avoid taking the last pebble, see? So it's kind of like you have to think through how many should you take at given points. You have to think like a couple of steps ahead. Yeah. So they have this. They computerized this game, and there's basically images of like how should I say little sticks, and then you get to choose how many you take out and how many you leave behind. So that's the
And
first
this
one.
this was
Hmm.
1952.
Yes, it was really early.
Wow, my
Yeah.
mother was born in 1952, so it's yeah, it's a long while ago. Interesting. What is the
Yeah.
second example the milestone example that you found?
Okay, so the second one is a little bit more advanced. So this was in 1992, so around 40 years later. So it's called Wolfenstein 3D was released, and the idea is that soldiers had a rudimentary form of AI. So they had this thing where it's a finite state machine algorithm. So
Mhm.
basically, the designers created a list of all the possible events that a bot can experience, and the designers can then assign the specific responses to each situation. So that sounds really vague, but I want you to think of those. There's a type of story that a long time ago they started to make, which is kind of similar to what Netflix did for Banderswitch. So basically, there's a plot line, right? And then you
Yeah.
give the person the choice to choose, right? So in theory, if you were to make something like that, you really need the author to be thinking about every possible scenario. Now, what they do here is they allow the computer to do it so that the scenarios are much more diverse and there's many more there, and that the whatever happens if you choose one scenario is much more automatic.
So, am I right to say that AI can be used in gaming in at least two different ways? A,
Hmm.
to increase the level of adaptiveness of the machine to the type of player that is against the machine. And the second one is about responsiveness. So, it's about creating a responsive and engaging experience that essentially enables the player to, experience something new all the time. Does it sound right?
Yes, perfect. That's exactly it.
And now most more recent examples. I mean, I'm not a gamer. I quit a long time ago because, yeah, obviously, as many of our listeners, yeah, I don't have a lot of time, and yeah, gaming takes an awful lot of chunk of life, really,
Hmm.
if you do it the right way. But I know that one of the most successful games of the last decade, I think it's
Mm.
Minecraft, and Minecraft already has a lot of AI in it, right? So many people say that Minecraft is actually the real metaverse. It's already there, and to create new parts of the game and also to customize the players, they already use AI, right?
Yes, exactly. My brother actually plays Minecraft, and he shows it to me sometimes, and it's really complex, and the world is really rich.
So we said Minecraft. Is there anything else that you found maybe in Ubisoft long list of games? Is there any other uh, game that is worth mentioning about
Yes.
in this episode, which is about AI and gaming?
Yeah, so there's another one from Ubisoft, which is a company based in Japan. So it's Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. I'm pretty sure some of the listeners would be able to recognize it. It's fairly popular. So the cool thing about this game is that it's more combat. So if you think of like Tekken, right, you get your character and then you try to defeat the other person. Now,
Mm.
what they created was an opponent that was based on AI, was empowered by AI. And what it does is that it responds to every move made by the player accordingly. So if you're playing the game for the length of the storyline, the AI will learn how your techniques are done, and then it gets better over time, and then it becomes much harder to defeat.
Interesting. Well, guys, this is I think a shorter episode. We want to stay within the 5 minutes for once. So let's invite our audience to check in link below if they have questions or comments about gaming and AI. This is going to be a topic that we're going to also explore in the future, also because of the metaverse and all the attention that this that lies in the intersection of gaming and the metaverse. So thank you very much, Michelle.